Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and P.L. Combs Asian Art, located in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is May 1st, 2018. And in this video, we're going to take a look and see how Rob Michiels did with his two-day auction over the weekend in Belgium, in Bruges. It was a heck of a good sale. I heard from him this morning. I guess it was the highest grossing sale they've ever done. Did extremely well. I'm really happy for them. They worked hard on this. They were there into the late hours of the night on numerous nights, getting it set up just right, answering emails, doing all the things that auctioneers should do. And they had reason to. They had some good stuff. And we're going to take a look. And this was the one of the pages. You can scroll through like this on Live Auctioneers and see what the results were if you want. And this is a wonderful archive, actually, for the prices of items, if you're wondering, Famille Rose and export porcelain and, the types of porcelain that you're likely to encounter out there when you're looking around. If you're a collector and you're not spending tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars in New York or Hong Kong, this is the type of thing you're likely to encounter, and some of them are really very lovely. So let's get started. First, you had things like this. You had lots of great transitional wear. It is up in Northern Europe where a lot of this stuff was brought in. And in this grouping here, you had 6 very nice little wine cups and a couple of small vases, all transitional period, very nicely done. And they went for a perfectly fair price, 1,300 euros. The euro today is trading at about $1.20 in U.S. currency, so you can sort of do the math on it if you want. So it was about probably $1,400 for the lot. Okay, and then he had this. I talked about this wine pot. I loved this wine pot, late Ming wine pot that was in the sale. Beautifully painted. I like the square bridge, square gate foreign handle, and the way the spout is done, and the way the birds were painted were particularly nice. Beautifully painted wine pot. These do turn up from time to time, and not as good, and they sell normally in the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 range. This one did a good bit better. It brought 13,000 euros, and for a good reason. The decoration on this was just excellent. Beautiful looking pot. And then there were these. There were 2 of these in the sale with these very unusual transitional double gourd, sort of a garlic neck affair with elephant handles. And Rob had said to me, he hadn't seen this form before, and neither had I. And I was kind of curious to see how they do, because sometimes unusual forms aren't something you can look up to see what they brought in the past, so it's hard to figure out what they're worth. And I think somebody got a really good buy on these. This one sold for 5,000 euros, and the other one sold for just slightly less. I think 4,800 euros or 4,500 euros. But very unusual form. And I have a feeling that this was a particularly great buy for someone. And they also had this in the sale, this very well-known bottle, Joseon period. You see these in shipwrecks all the time with this garlic neck. Nicely done decoration, beautiful spacing between everything, nice tight border around the neck and so forth. And this did pretty well. It brought 6,500 euros. All right, but it was a nice thing. That was a really nice vase. And then on to this. This was a big Moon Flask. This thing was about 20 or so inches tall, and I think it was a rather good buy for someone. It only went for 1,000 euros. There it is. This is a beautiful example, very nicely done. Good negative space around the central reserve, and then this sort of almost a millefiori pattern here with lots of flowers and vines, and these very cool gold bats up on the shoulder, with the original top still on it. And I don't think 1,000 euros was too much for that. That was a big Moon Flask. Okay, it was 20 inches tall. All right, and wrong picture. There we go. And then there were this beautiful pair of Qinlong 18th century Beijing enamels, and it's a pair. Pairs are great, especially in enamels, because enamels are so prone to damage. They dent easily, they flake easily. They're fairly high maintenance objects, and then also they're very light, so they tip over fairly easily. But these were a beautifully decorated pair, and the crowd loved them. And they went for 48,000 euros. There was a piece of enamel recently at one of the bigger auction houses that did very well also. And I think enamels are going to start to really come into their own. This was a nice pair. And then on to the next one. There we go, the turtle. This was the turtle terrine. These are really rare things. There's a couple of them been published. They are definitely in the oddity category because it looks like a real turtle. And inside it's white glazed. The shell lifts off and you can put food in it. And this was a really interesting object. And it brought 9,500 euros or roughly $11,000, somewhere in that range. But quite a thing. If you're a collector, this was of export goods. This was a really unusual 18th century piece of export ware. All right. And then there was the brush pot. This was that beautiful Kang XI, probably Kang XI period, soapstone brush pot, wonderfully carved on all sides. Just beautiful quality carving. They used some pigment on it, as you can see. Some dyeing went on and so forth. There it is, the top. There's the bottom. And here's a side shot of it. It just was a lovely piece. It was in good shape. And it had a couple of minor nicks, but nothing distracting. And it did really well. It brought 7,000 euros. It went over its estimate. A lot of things in Rob's sale went over their estimates. He was very good on estimates. He kept them reasonable. All right. And then there was this robe, this chocolate brown ground robe with very finely done dragons. Just excellent quality robe. If you like good robes, you want to learn about them, this is one you want to come and look at. Just really great quality, beautiful quality all the way around. The front band here, the ground, the way the clouds are done, the spacing of the birds and the bats and the precious objects. Just a beautiful robe, and it did well. It brought 26,000 euros. Nice item, nice item. And then there was the box, the mystery box. Rob had put this in, he thought probably late 19th century. He was being very conservative, I feel, on this. There's a Shundi mark on it, beautiful quality. And I spoke to somebody in Malaysia who is a very knowledgeable collector, and he thought the piece was probably period. He probably thought it was a market period box. But the damage, it was an issue for it. It has a lot of breaks and cracks and whatnot in the body. Here's the back of it. You can see it's been broken. But the quality of decoration on this thing was just excellent. All right, and I think somebody that doesn't mind condition too much got maybe one of the great buys of the day for 900 euros. All right, and don't be surprised if you hear that this was an authentic one. All right. And then there was this vase with this had a Beijing mark on it. They didn't sell it as a Beijing market period vase, but the quality of this was so good, I had to wonder. And people that were there looked at it, obviously. Here's a picture of the bottom of it, that beautiful foot, and absolutely top-grade enameling all the way around. And it had a fairly modest estimate of $1,200 to $1,800, and it blew through that and went for 12 to 1,800 euros, rather. Excuse me, and it went way past that in multiples and went up to 13,500 euros, or roughly $15,000. I think a few people thought it probably was Beijing, judging by that price. And then there was this transitional vase. This is a well-known shape and form for transitional ware, but it's a really pretty one. And the figures are beautifully done all the way around it. You can see the banding was good. The way the neck, this back decoration of these the dots, the astronomical markings on the back, and so forth, with these palm trees, and this beautiful, the way they do the wispy clouds and waves on these, very typical of transitional vases. Just a nice vase, top, and Rob very nicely put the bottoms of everything in here. This is a great place to go look at foot rims if you want to in the future. Okay, bookmark this page, and it did great. It brought 12,500 euros, which is a good price for that. Okay. They retail them for more, but that was a good auction price. And then there was this Wutsai transitional jar, and this is a very common form, shaped jar, but the decoration on it was quite unusual, and with the demons and immortals and so forth carrying banners and floating in the clouds. Just a very, very lovely looking pot, and this was fairly good size. How big was it? This was 48 centimeters. This was bigger than most. So it was almost about 20 inches tall, I guess, somewhere around there. And it did fine. It brought 13,500 euros, or roughly $15,000 US. But what a nice pot, huh? Beautiful. And then there was this big Kang XI pot, Femi Vert, again, very beautifully decorated, excellent shape, and it was pretty big too. This thing was 22 inches tall or something like that. It was a big jar. Here it is. All right. It is what the scene. I love the scene on the back with the pagoda going up, the two men in the foreground. Just really terrific. And here's the interior and the top, and here's the foot. Very typical foot from that period. It's got browned a little bit from being fired, but nice jar. And it brought 60,000 euros. I think this was the highest highest priced item of the day, but a really nice one. And it was 65 centimeters tall, so it was about 25 inches. Big pot, nice one. And on to this, the Datsai transitional incense burner. They did a lot of these in blue and white. Most of you have probably seen them, and occasionally in Wutsai, but Daosai is really unusual for these. And this was a nice one, and all the way around, painted in the round, obviously, with the Luohan here, and an immortal. And there was some typical fritting around the rim that's evident. It's very clear in the pictures. You can see it. These pieces often fritted around the rims. And it did very well. It brought 15,500 euros, or roughly $18,000. All right. Rob did a good job with this sale. If you have things that you're thinking of selling, you might want to get a hold of him. They do a good job with their auctions. They really know how to promote them. And they did a very nice job with their photography. And then you have this really unusual export 18th century six-sided coffee pot or chocolate pot, beautifully done, and it went right through it. The pattern is called Europa and the Bull, and it went for 26,000 euros. Okay, but these are quite rare. So somebody got a real rarity at this, and these are nice size too. This thing is 29. It's a foot tall. These aren't little teapots or coffee pots. These are big, nice size on these. And this was, I mentioned this in the video we did before the auction, because this was one of my favorite things, because I liked the way it was painted. It's not especially rare, but I just loved the way this was painted, with these mountains trailing off almost like waterfalls. Beautifully done in the way they patterned them. It's very clever, late Ming piece, and it did fine. It brought 4,400 euros. But that was a nice looking jar, and good size, 39 centimeters tall, so about 15 inches in height, roughly. All right. And then there was this nice Yongshan saucer, very beautifully painted, and it's spring, so it's nice to see things like this. I love the good clear yellow in it, nice yellow, nice pink, beautiful shading. And very nice glaze, and again, lots of nice negative space, so the flowers really stand out. Here's the back of it, all right, and it did fine. The saucer brought 2,600 euros, all right, and it was about 7 or 8 inches in diameter. Beautiful quality, all right. And then there's the Kang XI Chinese Amari jars with the peacocks on the rocks and these nice big mottled fu lions on top, rather ferocious looking, but beautifully done. These are very, very pretty. And they also did very well. They brought 26,000 euros. Okay, and these were 67 centimeters tall, which makes them, about 27 inches, 26 inches tall. Great big jars, very impressive. They're nice presentation pieces. And then last of the Chinese things we're going to talk about was this. I mentioned these in the first video because these are really wonderfully done and not terribly expensive. Okay, celadon ground, beautifully rendered dragons, very tight patterning of the waves at the bottom here, and these very interestingly colored handles in this sort of turquoisey blue. Thought that was a really nice touch. And they did fine, but they didn't bring. These are something that these were big. These were 20-something inches tall. 4,200 euros. Not bad. Those are perfectly nice. And these were big. They were 59 centimeters. So they were just a hair under 24 inches tall. Very impressive, handsome looking pair of jars, for around $5,000. Not bad. I like those. And then there was some very good, there wasn't as much Japanese as there was Chinese, obviously, but there was some good Japanese ivory in the sale. There were also some good bronzes in the sale I didn't get to, and some jades and things. And there was some nice, couple of good pieces of kakeyomon, and this was one of them, this beautifully beautifully done faceted bowl with horses on it. Again, I love horses. And here's the side of it. And there's one with the flowers, with the birds flying over, and there's the interior. The interior, I thought, was just elegantly beautiful, very, very brightly done with these demi-lunes of flowers and so forth around the inside, and then the phoenixes. And this did quite well also. It brought 5,500 euros, which is a good price, but not an overpay for good kakeyomon. Nice milky white paste on it, and beautifully done. So congratulations to Rob, and if you're thinking of selling things and you like these results, you might get a hold of them. They did a good job, and they had a few buy-ins, not much, just a few, a handful. And as I said, they had a record sale for them, and I'm very glad for them. All right, so get a hold of them and keep an eye on them. And a good place to buy and sell. If you haven't subscribed yet to us here on YouTube, please do. And if you're not a subscriber over at Bidamount.com yet, come on over and sign up and get the weekly newsletter, and visit the forum, leave a comment, post an image of something you're selling or something you're thinking of buying, get an opinion. And see you all next time. We'll see you on Friday. We'll be back for the regular video. All righty. Have a good week. Bye-bye.